All right, now this is something that we talked about back in the Dreamweaver 101, but I want to refresh your memory, or I don't know, maybe you didn't watch that series. I have no idea. But I'm going to zip through this super fast, and there's going to be a lot of info in a very short period of time. Again, because I'm operating under the assumption that this is a review for you. So what we're talking about here, obviously, is the 3 basic types of CSS rules. What I'm referring to, by the way, is in the previous exercise, we talked about the anatomy of a CSS rule, and we talked about selectors towards the beginning of that exercise. And remember, I said some selectors are preceded by a period, some selectors are preceded by a hash mark or a number sign. Well, these are the 3 basic types of selectors, essentially, that we can use. And later on, what we'll do is we'll get into maybe a few of the other different types of selectors that we can work with. So here we go, super fast. We have HTML tags, we have class rules, and we have something that's referred to as ID selectors. So here's the difference between each of these 3 different types of selectors. First of all, HTML tags. They are also known as redefined HTML elements. So in the previous exercise, I used the example of a paragraph, or simply P, right? So if I wanted to redefine an HTML element, all I need to do is figure out what that element is, and then I can control it using CSS. And in fact, I have that right in here. Control the appearance of any HTML element. So any aspect of HTML can be placed under the control of a CSS rule, which is extremely awesome, right? Now, what's important to understand here is that we're reformatting existing content, right? So you are reformatting elements that are a part of HTML that are already in play. They're already being used on your page. For example, tables or paragraphs or images or maybe different types of multimedia, right? The other important thing to understand is that it's a global change. So if I decide to reformat my tables, I'm reformatting all tables, right? It's a global change. We are controlling all elements all in one shot, right? Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let's quickly move on here. Class rules. They're almost the opposite to HTML tags. We can apply customized formatting to any HTML element. However, it's localized formatting. So maybe I'm in a situation where I don't want to reformat all the tables on my page. I only want to reformat the first table, or maybe the second table, right? Something like that. Or I don't want to control all paragraphs. I just want to control this one over here, and that one over there, and this one down at the bottom, that sort of thing. So that's what I mean by localized formatting. I hope that works for you. And we're going to apply these guys again to our HTML elements, and we can reuse them over and over and over again. What I did not put in here is that class rules, the names, you make them up. You can name it after yourself. Jeff's snazzy class rule. No spaces, no special characters, but you can call them whatever you want, and they always have to be preceded by a period, right? I hope that works for you. And I think I said this already, but you can reuse them over and over again. Okay, ID selectors, they can only control one HTML element at a time. So we can only use an ID selector once on a page. It's kind of like a one-shot deal, right? And we can use these guys most often to control HTML div elements, if you know about divs, and therefore our page layout. Page layout is all based on an element in HTML that's referred to as a div, right? And once again, I didn't mention this in here, but I will definitely verbalize it to you here. We can call our ID selectors whatever we want. So you could call it Jeff's header or layout menu or layout footer or something like this. Again, no spaces or special characters in the names that you give your ID selectors, and they are always preceded this time by a number sign or hash mark. So it would be number sign menu or number sign footer or something like this, right? So there it is. I apologize for keeping it brief, but again, it's a review. Maybe what I'll do next is I'll show you really quickly in our Dreamweaver layout an example of each of these 3 basic CSS rules that are in play inside that sample file. Let's go and check it out.